In this lesson, we're going to be taking a logo and putting it onto a billboard. So first thing I'm going to do is I've downloaded a billboard, and you want to make sure that you put it in your home file, your T drive, and then go ahead and drag it into Photoshop and make a rectangle. And I'm just going to choose a color here. You can choose any color you want. This red looks good, so I'll do that. And I want to go to the edit, and then I'm doing the distort here, and I'm just dragging it and making it into a shape that resembles a rectangle in perspective. Alright, and then click out of it and say apply, and it should be a whole new layer. And then I have a PNG. It's really important that this is my logo is a PNG file, not just a regular Photoshop. And I go to File, just do Control A with your keyboard and copy it. So Control A, Control C, and then Control V, or Edit Paste. And then I'll go back to the Transform, and I'll scale this and just make this really small, and hold the Shift key down as I do this. Here I did just the distort. So let's go to the Edit, and then we'll go to Scale. And this is where you really want to ideally have a nice large picture of the billboard here. And then what we'll do is, if you see those lines, go ahead and just scale it to the rectangle. So if you notice, I'm taking those lines and I'm putting them in the corners, and this way it has that perspective, right? So the closer it is, the bigger it is, and the farther away, the smaller it is. And I said apply. All right. So you can spend more time on this, but I'm essentially done. Now you want to save it as two things. One, you want to make sure you save it as a Photoshop file, but then also make sure you save it as a PNG file. The Photoshop file, so you can go back in and do any editing. Just bear with me here. I'm just gonna this probably won't even let me save it in my T drive here, just the way that I'm doing it. So you'll save it as a Photoshop file, so you can re-edit it later if you need to, but also make sure that we save this as a PNG file. And the PNG file permits us, it takes all the layers away, because if you try to do this as a Photoshop file, you will not be able to drag it into any other application. So make sure it's a PNG file, call it Billboard or whatever you want to call this thing, and you're essentially done with this exercise. So you have distorted your logo onto another object.